let's go into the beginning and let's talk about the beginning, Mike. And from what you just said, I guess the best place to start is let's talk a little bit about what you were doing in corporate America.
Sure. So I was a district sales manager for a company, electrical distribution company. So nothing fancy or exotic. They were a very competitive industry, and but the company had that work hard, play hard culture that I mentioned, and I was really again fascinated that great retention, great morale, productivity, and ultimately we consistently outperformed our competitors. So the fun evolved over the course of my career there. It started kind of primitive. It was drinking beer after work and just good camaraderie. But as we matured and the company matured and grew, we started to do things that were on company time, brief, and respective of business interruption, and consistent. So in addition to the traditional things like the holiday party and the summer picnic, we started to do these things that were continuous and ongoing. So I formed a committee called the Circuit Club, and then I chaired it for many years and participated for many years. But that's what we did. We planned these activities in the workplace. And super powerful. The employees would talk about it for months, sometimes years later, and it definitely had an effect on our business. So I really started to wonder, geez, is this unique to our company, this electrical distribution company, or could it be that other companies are also doing this successfully? So I started to do some research. A bunch of data started to emerge about ties to increase morale, productivity, creativity, all kinds of benefits of fun in the workplace. But the data was still a little sketchy in terms of the quantitative data. But I had enough to know that I was onto something. And I started to look at other industries, and sure enough, it didn't matter what the industry was, the high performing companies had this culture of fun. So that was my hypothesis, if you will, at the time, that fun in the workplace leads to the business results, not the complete opposite, as most people would assume, that you have fun after you become successful. That is very deliberate on the parts of these companies like Google, Zappos, Southwest Airlines, companies that you recognize. They build it into their culture and achieve these business results.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I first hear what you're talking about is coming from corporate America as well. I think back to the time of, when they tried to structure team building events and they tried to structure, the flight. It's funny because folks, I didn't say this at the beginning, but Nick and the fund department are located in Delaware. They do business all over the world, but they're over in Delaware. I'm here in PA, so we had fun talking about Philadelphia sports before we came on the air live today. And one of the teams we did mention was the Flyers, but I remember for years the Flyers went away for this team building retreat to try and build camaraderie. And the funny part is Hextall. I mean, for those of you who know Ron Hextall, shouldn't be surprised by this. He came in this year and said it hasn't been working. We're not going to do it anymore. And I kind of laughed at it. But I think part of the reason, and I'm going to make a statement, and there is a question buried in here. I think part of the reason it doesn't work is because it's not part of the culture. It's let's go team build someplace else, but then you come back to work and, things aren't any different. Yeah, you might be friendlier, but it's not more fun. So when you were in corporate America, did you see that distinction where the companies who made it a part of their culture were better than the companies who just did this team building event thing?
Absolutely, because the team building model, in my mind, is really kind of broken, the traditional team building. So it's usually an event that is designed to, motivate, maybe recognize employees, and it really that model is a little broken because you have to think of fun as a process, not an event. And so you wouldn't do one thing in any other part of your business and expect results, right? So having the annual holiday party, well, it may not be a bad idea, but it won't generate a culture that's conducive to producing all these business results that people would like to have. So when it becomes organic, there's a process around doing it, and then it literally becomes natural and organic, not a kind of creepy, let's hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and pretend like we like each other. We don't do any of that stuff, by the way. So it's really, our model is very different. Again, brief, consistent, and continuous, so that people are experiencing these things all the time.
Epic.
And we've
And
taken.
no, I was just going to say in the beginning phase, because a lot of people, a lot of our viewers are in the beginning phase right now, and they either they sense it, like they sense that a turning point is coming, or they feel that it's they just feel something's not right. So from your beginning phase, you obviously started to recognize that something was needed, and I think that's what all great entrepreneurs have. They can recognize that something, like the Kevin Spacey commercial for E-Trade now. If anybody's seen it, guys in a shoe store or guys kind of in like a Kohl's department store. They're not a sponsor yet, but they're more than welcome to come on and be a sponsor if they want. And they see everybody buying these toed shoes, and the guy starts looking on his phone and says, "Oh, this looks like it's going to be a trend and everything." Invests in it. That sort of thing. And I think all great entrepreneurs have that. So it sounds like you saw that there was either you saw what was working and you did some research, or you recognized the need. Give our audience a little bit of background there. Did you see what was working and then do more research, or did you realize there was a need and then see what you could do to fill it?
Yeah, great question, Chris. So I was fascinated by this experience that I was having with this company, but I really then started to do a lot of research to figure out if this was unique to my thoughts and feelings, or could it be that there's other people and a body of data around this. So when I started to research, I stumbled across a guy who is one of the foremost authorities in fun and humor in the workplace, a Dr. Paul McGee. And much to my delight, as I'm looking on his website, he's in Wilmington, Delaware. So I call him and I said, "Hey, I got this crazy idea for a business. I want to deliver fun in the workplace. Would you talk to me for 20 minutes?" And we met at a local coffee shop. 4 hours later, Paul said, "Nick, if you don't start this business, I will, because you are the tail end of fish. You're proposing to do what the fish philosophy, and other people have talked about. They validate the reason for fun, but they don't actually do it or implement it." So he said, "Be prepared for a long haul, because not a lot of people are going to buy into this." And of course, I was determined, energetic young entrepreneur, I'm going to make it happen. So yeah, that was really the impetus. Once I knew that Paul and others, validated this concept, I was ready to blaze that trail.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.